Hello. Today we're going to play with restorative yoga. So this is the opportunity to come in and really feel into the body for what you're in need of today. And that means too that you're encouraged to get anything that will support you. So if you've got any yoga props that you like, I've actually just got a folded up blanket, squishy pillow, but if you like bolsters and blocks, feel free to grab those. Folded towels or extra yoga mats work well. Whatever is going to help you be able to get into a pose and rest. In a lot of ways, this is considered one of the most challenging forms of yoga because it does ask you to sit with it. Sit with the sensations, sit with what's in your mind, and be able to breathe through that. And that really is the whole goal of all of these exercise style yogas anyway, is to prepare your body and mind for sitting. So in yin yoga or restorative yoga, we combine the two, the pose with that presence and calmness. So with it being restorative, it's all about healing your body. So if we get into a position that does not feel right to you, please do. We're going to have a lot of time in each pose. So maybe you try a little bit of wiggle over here or a little bolster under there to support you better. Also, sometimes you might get partway into a pose, we'll spend about 30 seconds in it, and something shifts in your body and you get deeper into it. That might be a relieving shift, it might be a shift into the next place of stretch that you haven't been into in a while, and it can feel quite extreme. So feel free to, if you get to a point in the middle of the pose where things change and you're in need of something different at that time, that's what yoga is all about. Find yourself a way to support yourself in that moment with those needs. So, as always, we'll start with a pranayama practice, a breathing practice. And I think for today, in this idea of calming, we will take a deep breath in, and then we'll elongate the exhale. So you might inhale for 2 seconds, and exhale for 6 seconds, or 8, or 10. But take a gentle, easy inhale, and then elongate that exhale enough that you feel the body really slowing down and easing into it, not so much that you feel deprived of air. We'll come back to the relaxed, natural breath. We're going to open our eyes and keep your head still, but look as far up as you can, and then as far down, up, down, up, down, and then we'll do left to right. And we'll do diagonals from up to one side to down to the other. And then the opposite corners. Bring your hands together. We're going to rub them together to make a little bit of warmth here. Once those hands are warm, we're going to take the palms of our hands and cup them over our eyes. So we have a little bit of pressure in the cheekbones and the eyebrows. And release the hands. We're going to do great big clock circles with the eyes only. Now the trick here is when a clock goes around, you get the tick, tick, tick. We're going to try to make it as smooth as possible. So make the largest eye circles you can, trying not to jump. Reverse the circle, go the other direction. And it is muscles that move your eyes like this, and let's face it, we don't do this very often probably, so your eyes might be getting tired and achy. Let's come back to the warming of the hands. And resting the eyes. And let it go. We'll lift one ear towards the ceiling. Let the shoulders melt down and back. And then I'd like you to roll your chin down towards your armpit. And then roll it up towards the ceiling, just as far as is comfortable for you to go with your jaw gently closed. Now somewhere in that space you found a spot probably that was tighter than the others. I'd like you to go back to that spot, wherever that was, and just hang out there, letting the shoulders and the weight of the head melt your neck open. Take one last deep breath here. And bring the head up to neutral gently. Let it find equilibrium. And then we'll lift the ear to the other side. Again, we'll slowly roll the chin down towards the armpit. And then up towards the ceiling. Staying with your head cocked off to the side. And then find one of those sticky spots that's calling out to you. And we'll hang out there. And then bring it back up to neutral. Again, let yourself explore the change. And we're going to cross the legs the other way if you have them crossed. Great opportunity to give them a little massage. And then roll those shoulders back and down. We're going to bring the hands behind us and we'll warm up the palms by just kind of meeting the floor like a cat for a moment. Place the hands in all different directions, fingers going this way or that, palms pointing up or down. And then start to walk the hands back far enough that you can really feel a stretch start to take place in the upper arms and shoulders. Now, if you like that deep stretch through the forearms, hands, fingers, this is great. Your fingers are pointed down and towards your tail. If that's too much, you can either rotate the hands to point outwards or behind, or you can bend your elbows a little bit. So take the time now to explore. And then settle on a position. And think about your legs getting heavy. If crossing your legs is no amount of hip stretch for you, an alternate might be butterfly, soles of the feet together, and the weight of the legs are gently pulling that down. Begin to make your way back to sitting. I'm going to take some time to stretch my fingers. So we'll pull them back one by one. And I'm letting my wrist go limp here, so I'm feeling the stretch all the way up into my lower forearm. And then we'll pull the fingers back. And on this one, we're going to pull and then let go. So there's this little flick. And we'll just flick each finger twice. And roll the hands. And you can see this little bit of space between the hand and the bones of the wrist here. We're going to grab our wrist right between that space at the base of the hand. And we're going to gently, slowly squeeze. And the reason we're being so slow is because we're actually doing what's called tractioning. We're making a little bit of space between the bones of the wrist and bones of the hand. Just stretching them out a little bit. And so when we're done with making that space, we're going to release slowly too. There we go. Go ahead and take your thumb and place it between those bones. We'll give a little bit of pressure and a little massage right there. Excellent. We'll go to the other side. Gently squeeze, making some space. And then thumb between the two bones of the forearm and massage. All right. Let's go ahead and find a child's pose. And we're going to be in this child's pose for a while. So I want you to take a second to wiggle the toes, get some blood down there. And also, you've got your pillow or block or bolster. So if your knees get a little pinched in child's pose, you can put a block or bolster between your legs to give you some more support. If it feels uncomfortable to breathe deeply during a child's pose, maybe you make your knees a little bit wider to give space. And you can also play with, what's the difference between my arms being down by my sides versus my arms being stretched out? Are there any parts of your body that you can ask to relax any further? And now, if your arms aren't stretched out beyond your head, do so now. And then walk them forward so it lifts your tail over your knees. And we'll continue to relax into the mat here.
way to lying on your stomach. We're going to let our knees be turned out, so our feet are turned out. My feet are maybe hip width apart, maybe a little wider. So my whole body is really pressed against the floor without hurting anything. I'm going to take one arm and slide it underneath and rest on that arm. So explore with me for a moment a few options. We've got this arm falling to the floor. That's going to increase the stretch. Maybe your chin rests on your arm, or maybe it goes all the way to the floor. Maybe this arm bends up and rests on the other shoulder. Maybe the lower arm reaches up and grabs for your shirt or your other hand. Find the one that works for you. And before we played with the idea of inviting areas of tension to release, let's explore now asking areas that are comfortable and relaxed to spread. Begin to unwind those arms. We'll take it to the other side. Unless you have an injury or something, I generally encourage you to do the same thing on this side as you did on the other. But of course, there's always exceptions to that. Find the place that encourages stretch and relaxation in you. Feeling those areas of relaxation spread, extending their boundaries into areas areas that may have not been as comfortable before, but they can be welcomed into the sense of ease and softness. And unwind. We're going to bring our hands underneath our shoulders and play with this stretch right here, pushing your elbows towards your hips. And feel how it opens up space around the collarbone. And then bring yourself up to hands and knees. We'll bring one knee forward and we're going to do your version of pigeon. So your version of pigeon might be anywhere from here, where we're just resting on top of that leg, to somewhere where the foot starts to come out to the side, maybe even parallel to the top of the mat here. We can be resting on it. Now this is a wonderful place for bolsters and support. I like to put a little bit under the hip of the front leg. It's also nice to put something under the forehead so your nose doesn't smash against the ground. Explore and then settle. Slow the breathing and relax the shoulders. Feel the spine elongate. And that deep opening of the hips. Begin to make your way back up to hands and knees. There's no hurry. Explore any stretches you'd like to along the way. And then we'll begin to take the second knee forward. Take one last deep breath here. And then begin to make your way back up to hands and knees. We're going to make our way over to a wall or counter or couch or something like that that we can put our feet up. And we're going to get our tail as close to the wall as possible while lying on our back so our feet go up the wall. I'm going to increase the stretch of my hips just a little bit by putting a pillow just above my tush. So the lower edge of the pillow is going to be resting on my upper glutes. And the way I found that's the easiest for me to get up is sit as close to the wall as I can. Lay down. And bring the legs up. And I'm already here nice and tight. Of course, if this is more stretch than is right for you, you can play with softer knees, or you can play with bringing your hips further away from the wall. Let's explore a little bit with some wiggly toes and rolling ankles. You might take your arms overhead or out to the sides if that encourages open, relaxed shoulders and chest. And then we're going to take some form of straddle, depending on how much space you have here on the wall. You might just open up to a straddle. If you're a little bit more confined, maybe another butterfly, and you can always gently press, or maybe some form of almost like a happy baby pose, but just so that we're stretching the inner thighs. There's a tendency here to contract the inner thighs because gravity can be a lot. Gravity can be a little more encouraging of this stretch than our adductor muscles feel that we're ready for, and so they want to protect and not tear. Tearing is not fun. So we're going to respect that. And if you feel like you're really straining, really contracting in these upper muscles, feel free to put your hands underneath and give the legs a little bit of support. Feel how they instantly start to relax and soften. And so maybe your hands are enough support. Maybe you've got props around you that you can put a block under each hip or pillow or something like that. Whatever it takes to make the legs feel comfortable enough to let go and open. And then we'll bend the knees, bring the legs back towards each other. We're going to take one leg, one ankle, and put it on the opposite thigh. And then I want you to bend your knee enough that your tail actually comes off the ground a little bit. comes off the pillow or comes off the ground. Just enough that when you really soften and relax, gravity is encouraging you deeper into the stretch. Your tail wants to go back down to the floor. So that at this point, you don't have to hold any tension to encourage this stretch. You simply let go. We'll slowly release the leg. And bring the other one across. Notice any areas of holding. And invite them to open. And let it go. We're going to put both feet on the wall with bent knees. Press your tail and your back up off the floor until you can remove anything that's underneath of you. And then slowly roll back down to the floor. If it's a firm surface, you might feel a deep massage up and down the spine. We'll take that a couple more times. Rolling your spine up off the floor. And back down. Excellent. We're going to take a twist, and you can do this from at the wall, or you can do it like we normally do it, just resting on the floor. So we'll take our legs to one side, and our shoulder blades stay on the floor if we're going for a spinal twist. If that's not right for your back, you can rotate your body a little bit more, so bringing that shoulder up, but then keeping the arm extended so you are getting a good stretch through the chest and biceps. We'll make our way to the other side. In this stretch, it's easy to have shallow breathing because of the twist. I encourage you to deepen those breaths. And then make your way slowly towards your Shavasana. your relaxation pose, resting on your back. And we have all these comfortable props today. Feel free to use them. Traditionally, Shavasana has the legs a little turned out, arms, palms up by your sides, a little distance from the body. And the body weighing into the mat. Let your body weigh into the mat. Find those deep breaths. Bring your awareness to that sound of your breath flowing in and out. Like the softness and grace of gentle waves rolling in and out on the shoreline. And now begin to articulate the fingers and toes, the muscles of the face, the jaw and neck. And we'll slowly bring ourselves up to sitting. We'll bring our hands to heart space and our thoughts to a place of gratitude. Together we'll take a deep inhale and exhale, and if you'd like to Om along with me on the exhale, please do. We'll breathe in.
Namaste. Thank you.